Unsure at first, but now it's clear why they are there and we are here. No need to wonder what will be. Oh, you see for a safe way. And take it now, I am your prey. Will you hunt me down? Will you take me away? Follow me, hold, devour me. I want to know the side of you nobody can see. And take follow me now, I am your prey. Will you hunt me down? Will you take me away? Unsure at first, but now it's clear. I want to know why they are there and we are here. No need to wonder what will be. Oh, you see for a safe way. You get right under my skin. It's a battle with the devil within. Unsure at first, but now it's clear why they are there and we are here. No need to wonder what will be. Oh, you see for a safe way. And take me now, I am your prey. Will you hunt me down? Will you take me away?
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome to everybody that is joining us for the Europa League group stage draw. For any of you that are wondering, a little bit confused, what time does it start? The draw starts at 12 o'clock UK time, so that's in about 40 minutes. But we're going to have a build-up for that draw in about 20 minutes time. So that's 11:45, we're going to be building up, as you can see on the screen. The draw should start from 12 PM UK time, so do stick around. Put in the comments below which team are you going to be supporting throughout the Europa League. It'd be always nice to hear what you guys, in terms of teams that you're supporting. And of course, we'll have our build-up show in about 20 minutes time. So do stick around because the Europa League draw will be starting very soon. And as I said, tell me in the comments below, who are you supporting? It'd be nice to know who you guys are supporting. I'll be in the comments, talk to some of you guys. So sit back, relax. We'll be back in about 20 minutes for the group stage draw build-up. And if you are new, by the way, do leave a like and a subscription as well. Very greatly appreciated. I know the draw hasn't started yet, but we do tend to do the draws all of the time. So if you are a fan of one of these Europa League or even Champions League clubs, then do stick around on the channel because we've got plenty more Champions League and Europa League content to come, as well as every single draw throughout the rest of the season. So do leave a like and a subscription. It is always very greatly appreciated. But we'll be back with build-up to the draw in about 20 minutes. The draw starting at 12 PM UK time. That's 35 minutes. See you then. Once again, hello and welcome to everybody who's joining us live for the UEFA Europa League group stage draw, which is taking place in about half an hour's time. 12 PM UK time is the start of the draw. You can see on the screen right now, we've got build-up in about 15 minutes time. The draw takes place at 12. So, for all of you that are here waiting for the draw to take place, do tell us in the comments below who you supported in the UEFA Europa League. It'd be interesting to see the diverse clubs that you're all supporting. You can see on the screen right now the pots for each team and where they'll start in this group stage draw a little bit later on, and we'll run through the rules and things like that. But for now, we've got build-up in about 15 minutes, the draw in half an hour. You'll have all the reactions with the Sports Corner team from 12, build-up at 11:45 AM. So we will see you very, very shortly. Hello and welcome to everybody that is joining us for our live reactions to the UEFA Europa League group stage draw. We're just 10 minutes away from our build-up show, with the draw taking place at midday UK time. That's 25 minutes from now for those of you from the other countries, of course, wondering when the draw is taking place. It's 12 PM UK time, or to make it easy for you, 25 minutes. We're going to have the build-up in about 10 minutes time with the Sports Colour team. We're going to talk through some of the clubs that we think are going to do well, talk through the ideal groups that we want to see, and all the things like that in 10 minutes time. And then of course the draw should start around 12 o'clock. But right now, do tell me in the chat if you've just joined us, who are you supporting in the Europa League this season? I'm seeing a few people in the chat. Nenad saying Red Star, very best of luck to you. It's always a tough place to go, Red Star Belgrade. We've got Sivasspor supporters, Spurs supporters, Rangers fans. It's great to see everybody in here for the draw. If you are new, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. We do the Europa League and the Champions League draws all the time, so you can never miss the draw. If you can't access it, you'll never be able to miss it by subscribing to the channel. But as for now, we're a few minutes away from our build-up show. But as I said before, tell me in the chat if you've just joined us, who are you supporting in the UEFA Europa League group stages? And of course, actually, another good question, who would you like to face in the group stages too? Tell me in the chat. I will be in the chat right now. Talk to some of you guys before we start our build-up show at 11:45. That's just under 10 minutes. Seeing Blaze saying Arsenal. Going to be interested to see how Arsenal do this season in the competition. There'll be a lot of pressure on them. Cluj as well. Welcome, Raul. Thank you very much for joining. Very best of luck to Cluj. Great result last night in the playoffs. Arsenal all the way, says Daniel. Very best of luck to Arsenal fans. Going to be a big season for you guys in the Europa League. Not just in the Europa League as well, but across the board in football. Fantastic result against Liverpool last night. And of course, Sivasspor says Berat, very best of luck. First time for Sivasspor. We do like Turkish football. But we'll have our build-up show in just a moment's time. And Sasa saying Rijeka. Beautiful performance last night from them. Although, if you haven't seen the goal, very, very comedic indeed. Very, very comedic. But there's a hell of a lot of you in here right now. Thank you ever so much for everybody that is joining. For those of you that are wondering, the draw does take place at 12 UK time. So that's 22 minutes from now. Seeing Foe saying Arsenal dominate or Spurs. It'll be interesting to see if a Premier League side can win it this season. But we'll get the boys on in about 6 or 7 minutes. And then we will be ready for the draw at 12 o'clock. So we're going to have 15 minutes, about 15-20 minutes of build-up. So the draw does take place at 12 o'clock. So there's a little bit of extra time for us to talk through the teams, through the pots. We're going to talk through the rules. If you've never experienced the draw before, we'll make it easier for you in just a moment's time. Raul has asked, you know Hadji? I do indeed. Fantastic player, Hadji. Really, really good player. But our build-up show is in 6 minutes' time. So keep your eyes out, stay in the stream, and of course, do subscribe if you are new. Very greatly appreciate it. We're 2 subscribers away from 7:30. Let's see if we can reach it. But as for now, we'll be back in 5 minutes with our build-up show. To answer your question, Saban, we can't officially show the actual draw live, but we're going to be covering it for those of you that can't access the draw. So do keep your eyes out, because we're going to start a build-up show in about 5 minutes. And then, of course, we're going to be covering the draw when it starts at midday. So do keep your eyes out. I'm just seeing the chat right now. Rohan saying, Monash Celtic, very best of luck to all of the Scottish fans. Celtic and Rangers, of course, both in the Europa League. Hapoel as well, best of luck foe. Elysia saying Red Star Belgrade, a lot of Red Star fans in here. Great to see you all in here tonight. Or this morning, or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world right now. But do tell us in the comments, who are you supporting in the Europa League? It'd be great to hear from all of you guys as we do our build-up show in a moment. We'll get the boys on. We'll talk about the Europa League. We'll talk about everything in terms of all the teams. We're going to talk through the pots, through the rules, for those of you that may have not experienced the Europa League before. Somebody has just subscribed. Thank you very much to whoever you are. We're one away from 7:30, so if you haven't subscribed, it'd be very greatly appreciated. Although I'll try not to bang on about it too much. But we're 3 minutes away from our build-up show. And for those of you that are wondering, when does the draw start? It starts at 12 UK time. That's in 18 minutes. Although I would assume the draw will start around 5 minutes afterwards, because they do tend to go through the rules and everything. But we'll be back in our build-up show in a moment. To answer another question, Rohan, Celtic cannot draw Rangers. As much as I'd like to see it as a neutral, unfortunately, you cannot be drawn against Rangers. Same for Arsenal wanting to draw Spurs. It can't happen, but we'll talk through the rules in a moment. We'll get the boys on in 2 minutes. But tell us in the chat, who are you supporting? There's 70 of you in here. There's 731 subscribers. Thank you, by the way, to whoever has just subscribed. Again, very greatly appreciated. We'll have our build-up show in a moment. We'll bring the boys on. We'll talk all things Europa League for the next 15 minutes before this draw does start. It's going to be a very busy one indeed. We've got 12 groups to go through, as you can see on your screen now in a second. There we go. Obviously, all of the groups that are set up as we go along with this draw. But we'll be going in a moment with our build-up show. I'm seeing Forza Milan from Ilyan. Are there any other Milan fans in the building? You'll have to tell us. Roma as well from Sassa. Fantastic to see a few Italian fans in here today. Welcome to you all. And by the way, thank you so much for choosing the Sports Corner for your coverage today of the Europa League. Very greatly appreciated. And somebody else has just subscribed. Thank you so much. Saban says, will the group matches be a single match? They will indeed. You'll play each team twice in the Europa League group stages. You'll play each team twice. But it's not like a two-legged fixture. It is just kind of a single game, if you get what I mean. You'll just play that one team twice over in the group stages. I'm seeing Sabir saying Forza Milan. PAOK as well. The Greek side, unlucky that they didn't make it through to the Champions League. But they are still in the Europa League. 76 of you, my lord. Thank you all for joining. Very greatly appreciated. Should we start building up? Should we get the boys on in a moment? We'll get underway with the draw. The draw takes place in just 15 minutes time. You can see the clock in the top right. That is when the draw should start. Of course, it'll be a little bit longer with the rules and that. But as for now, we'll bring the boys on in a moment. Tell us in the chat who you're supporting. I'm seeing Sasa saying about Edin Dzeko. Hopefully he can have a good season in the Europa League if he stays at Roma. Very best of luck. And Blazing T asks, what are the restrictions on who you can play against? The only restriction, or two restrictions actually, is that, let's take Arsenal as an example. Arsenal cannot be drawn against another Premier League side. So you won't see Arsenal coming up against Leicester or Spurs in the group stages. And any Russian sides cannot face any Ukrainian sides. So we won't see any games between Russian and Ukrainian sides in this competition, unfortunately, until the knockout stages at the very least. But it's 11:45. We've got 15 minutes to go until the draw. So let's turn the music off for now. And let's get underway with the build-up for our show today. There we go. Honestly, thank you ever so much for everybody that is joining us. Welcome along to our UEFA Europa League show ahead of the draw in just 15 minutes' time. It's very, very greatly appreciated that you've all joined us for what is going to be an interesting Europa League group stage draw. There's a lot of teams to be drawn out. We've got 4 pots, a whole host of incredible fixtures that we could see, and we're going to find out in just a moment's time, in fact 13 minutes' time, on who will be facing who in the Europa League group stage. Over the next 15 to 20 minutes before the draw does start, we're going to be talking through the 4 pots. We're going to talk through our potential candidates to maybe go on and win the group stages. Go through at the very least, or maybe win the competition. And we're also going to talk through our underdogs ahead of the UEFA Europa League. I'm delighted to say I am not on my own today. I am also joined by 4 of our main boys. We have KD, we have Kieren L, and we have Rowan of the Sports Corner. How are we all doing, boys?
Well,
We're doing all right.
Fantastic to hear. All ready for the Europa League group stage draw in about 15 minutes?
yeah.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting one because before we do start looking at the teams, we're going to look at the pots in a moment's time. There is one of us actually that is a fan of one of the clubs in the UEFA Europa League, isn't there, Rowan? A certain Slavia Prague fan.
Yeah, there is Slavia rather. Look forward to see who we get. Hopefully an easy group.
Fingers crossed for you. We're going to go through the pots now, of course. We're about 12 minutes away from the draw, so let's have a gander at all the teams that are available in the UEFA Europa League group stages. So we're going to start off with pot 1. You can see the teams on your screen right now. Arsenal and Spurs will be representing the Premier League in pot 1. AS Roma and Napoli are in pot 1 as well from Italy. We've also got Benfica from Portugal, Bayer Leverkusen of Germany, Villarreal of Spain, CSKA Moscow of Russia, Braga of Portugal, Ghent of Belgium, PSV Eindhoven of the Netherlands, and Celtic of Scotland. Some fairly big teams, you've got to say, in that pot 1. I mean, the likes of Arsenal and Spurs and even Roma and Napoli, you could quite easily say they should be Champions League clubs, but is there a standout club in there that you guys think will go far in this competition?
It's hard to look past the 2 Premier League sides, to be honest. They normally do have fun in the Europa League. Obviously, Arsenal, not as much last year, but you do expect them to go further in the tournament. AC Milan are always going to be favourites, but after the performance yesterday against Real Ave, not looking as confident.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, obviously, I have back Slavia as well because they're my boys. Leverkusen, Hoffenheim, Leicester also. Basically, Roma, any clubs that are in the big leagues, you would put them as your favourites.
I think Villarreal got an outside chance.
Do you think? I mean, Unai Emery has come into the club, had a fantastic start in the league. They did lose 4-0 to Barcelona, but you kind of expect that result. How far do you think they can go, Kieran?
I mean, they've got the core of the squad. They've now got Parejo, who's a really good leader. He'll score goals for him because he loves a set piece. They've got a very, very balanced squad, and I think they will go quite far. I can see them getting out of the group stage. The fact that they're in pot 1 is absolutely huge for them. It's going to mean that they're going to get probably teams that are slightly less competitive to what they used to, as in the quality in the Liga and stuff. They'll probably ease through their group quite easily and get their players a little bit of confidence playing against these lesser sides. I'm not necessarily writing off the lesser sides to get in the group, but I think Villarreal have got the quality and they could go quite far.
They've got a fantastic team on paper. I've got to ask you, Kieran L, who do you think's the favourite in pot 1 for you?
The favourite in pot 1 for me, I think last year I backed Leverkusen, but I won't go near that right now. For me, it's between Arsenal and Napoli, both under recent managers that came in midway through last season, and both have had a real resurgence and already won silverware underneath that manager. Gattuso in Napoli won the Coppa Italia when it seemed like they were having an awful season with players wanting to leave. And Arsenal, they were a laughing stock for a while, but Arteta's got them playing some good stuff. So I think overall, if I had to pick a favourite, I'd go with Napoli.
Interesting choices across the board. Look at the chat right now. There's so many people in here. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you are new Do leave a like and subscription as always, very greatly appreciated. 732 subscribers right now, but looking at the chat, seeing who you guys are supporting, there's a lot of Sivasspor supporters in here tonight. Of course, first time that they've been in the Europa League, congratulations to them. I've seen a lot of people saying about maybe Arsenal going on and winning it. Rowan has said, of course, now I'm on the Celtic. We're going to have a few Celtic and Rangers fans in here today. Might be a few arguments in the background. And Xander Campbell has made a very good point, actually, which will bring us on to pot 2 now. Celtic and Leicester. Cue the Brendan Rodgers grudge match. And you can see on your screen right now, this is who is in pot 2. So we've got Dinamo Zagreb of Croatia. We have Sparta and Slavia Prague, both of the Czech Republic. So you want to keep your eyes out on that one, Rowan, for pot 2.
Yeah.
Ludogorets of Bulgaria, they're in pot 2 as well. Young Boys of Switzerland, they're in there. Red Star Belgrade of Serbia. Rapid Vienna of Austria. Leicester City of the Premier League, of course, in England. Karabakh of Azerbaijan. PAOK of Greece. Standard Liège of Belgium. And Real Sociedad of Spain. Some pretty decent teams in pot 2, you have to say. Some very good sides, of course. Leicester City of the Premier League. We've seen them before in the Champions League, where they had a fantastic first campaign. Real Sociedad, they've got a few new good signings, including the likes of David Silva. But there's a few other interesting teams in there as well. Karabakh, they tend to be in the competition quite often. PAOK as well. Rapid Vienna. I've got to ask one question, and of course, it's got to be to you, Rowan. Slavia Prague, being in pot 2, is a disappointing Champions League playoff fixture for you, but how far do you think Slavia can go in this competition?
The problem is, you really don't know. You don't know how much I think a miss of Kufal will be. I think Kufal's going to be a very big miss. I think the worry is that you have what you had in the Champions League and you end up in a group of death, because it's still possible, because you could end up with anyone from pot 1, and probably there is in like the top 6 there. You could end up with you could have then Milan and then Nice or something. It'd be a tough group to get out of. It's all to do with group placing for Slavia. They can get an easy group that can get first to second in. I think they could go far, but it's that group stage, and also just maintaining a lead would be quite nice.
Fingers crossed for you. It's going to be interesting to see where Slavia come. Looking at the chat right now, it's so busy. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're getting towards 200 viewers. It's crazy right now. I said there was going to be some debate starting between Celtic and Rangers. It's kicked off. We like to see it. Stephen saying not bad for a dead club, Glasgow Rangers with all the flags. You love to see the arguments going on. I mean, Rohan's put hope both Scottish teams go through. I mean, as a neutral, we'd like to see an old firm in the knockout stages. Seeing a few other fans, Bojan saying CSK Sofia, very best of luck to you guys. A few more Red Star Belgrade fans and a couple more Rangers fans in there. I mean, Xander Campbell's just coming. Welcome, buddy. He says Rangers will want any English team so the fans can go down and kiss their Imperial Overlord's feet. So we like to see a few arguments going on in the chat. It's beautiful between Celtic and Rangers. It's so friendly. Let's move on to pot 3. You can see some of the teams in pot 3 right now. One of those is, of course, Rangers. We've got Granada of Spain. Fantastic first campaign back in La Liga to get into the Europa League on the final day. Fair play to them. We've got AC Milan. Incredible result last night in the playoff. A 2-2 draw with Real Ave, which they eventually won 9-8 in an incredible penalty shootout. AZ Alkmaar of Feyenoord of the Eredivisie. Two very good sides. Maccabi of Israel, they'll be interesting to see, quite a good side in the Europa League. AEK Athens of Greece, fantastic result for them last night, beating Wolfsburg in the 94th minute, incredible result. Rangers, of course, of Scotland, Molde of Norway, Hoffenheim of Germany, interesting to see them a bit quite low down in the pots. Last Linz, they got a great result as well last night in the playoffs, a 4-1 win against Sporting, who were down to 10 men. Hapoel of Israel and CFR Cluj of Romania. We said about it yesterday in the Champions League group stages that the lower end of the pots were quite good, but there's a few quite decent sides in pot 3, specifically in terms of the bigger sides, AC Milan and Hoffenheim. AC Milan, they made a lot of big signings, and of course they've got Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It's their first time back in European football for a few seasons. How do you think Stefano Pioli could do in the Europa League, boys?
They could win it. Not if they play like they did last night, by no means, but if they play like the Pioli side that they have been in Syria and the back end of last season, where they went on a good unbeaten little run. So if they get the confidence going, and I mean, if luck isn't on your side, look at last night, because luck is on AC Milan's side after Rio Ave missed 3 penalties in a row to get eliminated from the tournament. So I think AC Milan are got to be one of the favourites to go extremely far. And as you said, Josh, this pot three is looking stacked for the first time in many years, which is good to see because you don't see this many big teams this far down usually in the Europa League.
Not even the big teams, though, to be fair. It's like the teams like Lask Linz and AEK Athens and AZ Alkmaar, for example. They're hard teams to play when you go away from home. Mulder and one Rangers, nobody likes going to the Ibrox. Granada, they'll be a difficult team to beat. There's lots of teams in this pot three, which will be like Rome was saying about the potential group of death. I mean, if you look in, you get AC Milan or Rangers or Granada or Hoffenheim. Very, very hard teams to beat.
We've just had another subscriber. Thank you very much, by the way, to have us just subscribed. There's 300 of you in the stream right now. Thank you ever so much. Just quickly read through the comments here. It's getting very busy right now. Billy Henderson saying, hope Celtic get to the last 16, then Old Firm and Rangers put them out. I think for any neutral, as we said before, we'd like to see an Old Firm derby in the Europa League. We've got Marcin, welcome to the stream. He's a Lech Poznan fan. Very best of luck to you. Giovanni saying Napoli are making some interesting signings. I think they are the favourite, of course. Gattuso doing a fantastic job there. Berat with the Sivasspor son. Nice to see you still in the stream, buddy. And Sefer Dadashov, he's clapping his hands right now. I assume he's very excited for the draw, which is going to be taking place in about 2 or 3 minutes' time. And Nicholas, welcome to the stream, buddy. He says, Celtic will lose to Cluj again. Ha ha ha. You never know what could happen in the Europa League. So there's a few of the comments right now in the chat. And of course, we are going to have the draw in just a moment's time. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes until it technically starts. Luckily, there shouldn't be any awards being given out. I think there's just one award, which is for the best player in the Europa League last season. Let's have a quick look at Pot 4 as well. Even Pot 4 has got some bloody good sides in here. We've got Zoya of the Ukrainian League, OGC Nice and Losk Lille of France. 2 very good sides on their day. Interesting to see how they do in the competition. NK Rijeka, who scored one of the most unbelievably hilarious goals last night in the playoffs. If you haven't seen it, just search it up on YouTube at some point. It's an incredible awkward goal that gave them the 1-0 win against Copenhagen last night. Dundalk, fantastic for them, of Ireland. They made it into the Europa League group stages. Congratulations to them. Slover and Liberec of the Czech Republic. Royal Antwerp of Belgium. Lech Poznan of the Polish League. Sivasspor, of course, there's plenty of you Sivasspor fans in here right now. Congratulations to you for getting into the competition. Wolfsberger of Austria. Nicosia of Cyprus. And CSK Sofia of Bulgaria. We said about it a moment ago with Pot 3. Even in Pot 4, there's some very tough sides to go away to. Of course, we've got Nice and Lille as the 2 major teams in this group. But the likes of Wolfsberger, Sofia, Lech Poznan, there's some tough places to go. Who do you think, apart from Nice and Lille, maybe could be a standout team from Pot 4?
Dundalk.
Dundalk?
Oh, God.
Dundalk. I mean, Zorya have been in it a few times. Lech Poznan are also a team that's normally in it a few times. Sivasspor, their first time in the Europa League, they'll be up for it. I think there's quite a few teams in there that will be difficult to beat, especially going away to all these places. Like when you go away to Belgium or Bulgaria, of course, it's hard to win in hostile environment. Not necessarily a hostile environment. I'm saying like the fans make it a very, very hard to win. I'm saying, of course, there won't be fans. I don't think anyway. I'm not sure how.
There will be fans now.
There will be fans. Well, just forget what I'm saying. Of course, the atmosphere in those grounds is absolutely electric.
To add to your point, I think they just announced yesterday that fans should be able to go back in based on national government's discretion. So we could have 30% of fans, only home fans, but it's massive for the clubs, and whether we see that coming to the Europa League and the Champions League, we'll have to find out. But there's 570 of you in this stream right now. Thank you ever so much for joining. The draw will be taking place in just a moment's time. We're waiting for the official live stream to start, and then of course we'll go through things. Let's have a look at some of your comments right now. There's a lot of you subscribing. Thank you ever so much. We're nearly at 740. Very greatly appreciated. Scottish Stew saying Glasgow Rangers, of course. There's going to be a lot of Celtic and Rangers fans in here tonight. Lovro saying everyone can win. Everyone is a dangerous team. And to be honest, he's not wrong. There's a lot of very tricky sides in this Europa League group stage that I think could certainly cause a shock. Armando says Antwerp is a dangerous team from the Belgian league. We've got Georgios saying it's Ammonia Nicosia, not Nicosia. David Boyle saying watching the home team Dundalk with interest. Of course, Dundalk getting through into this competition. Congratulations to them. And seeing a couple of the comments, Verse saying it'd be an absolute madness if it was an Old Firm final. You never know what could happen. And then Luca De Boss is saying Dinamo. He's, of course, looking forward to seeing what happens with Dinamo Zagreb. So the draw is going to get underway very, very shortly, actually. They're just starting up the live stream for it. It shouldn't take us long this time to actually get into the draw, because if you saw the Champions League draw yesterday, you'll know how long it took them to get through everything. It was an absolute nightmare in terms of trying to get through all of the stuff within the actual draw itself, because they're doing awards on the side. I don't think we're going to have that problem today, but before the draw starts, before we get into it and we find out which teams will be facing who, it's time to quickly look at the important rules and the procedure of the draw today. So for any of you who haven't seen the draw before, you'll see right now on the screen that no team can play a club from their own association. So for example, Arsenal cannot face Spurs, neither can they face Leicester. If they're an English side, they cannot face them once again in this competition. Same for Celtic and Rangers, they cannot come up against each other. Based on decisions by the UEFA Executive Committee, clubs from Russia and Ukraine cannot be drawn together in this competition either until at least the knockout stages. So we won't see Russian and Ukrainian sides face off against each other in the group stages so far. And in the case of associations with 2 or more participants, clubs may be paired so they can play at different kick-off times. So the example is Arsenal and Spurs. They've both been put together. If Arsenal are drawn in groups A, B, C, D, E or F, then it means Spurs will have to go into the other 6 groups, so they have a different kick-off time. So the question I want to ask you boys, who's the underdog? We talked about it yesterday. There's a lot of very good sides in this competition. Who would you say in the Europa League could be a bit of an underdog?
Oh, do you mean to win it?
To go, it doesn't have to necessarily be to win it. It just may be going to the semi-finals or even the quarters.
Leicester for me. I know obviously they're a big side, but people look at that pot one and think, okay, every team can beat Leicester. They've proved that they can beat big sides. I think they could have done half decent in the Champions League if they're in it. So I really think they could win it, like genuinely. As much as I'd love Slavia Prague to win it, I think Kufal's going to be a very big miss. I think they've got some things to iron out. Whereas I think Leicester have got a really good squad. They've got They've got a major goal scorer. Hopefully, he can step them in obviously in European competitions. So Leicester for me. But if you want to lower down, Feyenoord.
I think if I'm going to predict anyone, and it's sad because I think their pot positioning really kind of not ruins their chances, but it makes it much more difficult. I'm going to go with Lille because they've had a fire start to the league. They're second in the league at the in Ligue 1, sorry, I should say. They're second in the league at the moment. They've lost a few good players over the years because of being poached by other teams, because of their turning form really in fortune. So I'm going to back LOSC Lille to make it quite far, but also I will give some credit to Rangers and get maybe half the chat on my side and not the Celtic fans on my side.
Kieran D, who are you going for in terms of an underdog? There's a lot of teams in this competition. Is there one that kind of catches your eye?
Well, I said about Villarreal earlier, and I'm going to go with Villarreal because, Unai Emery, he did well when he had Arsenal, and he got to the final and unfortunately lost it. I'm going to go with Villarreal.
Interesting choice there, Villarreal. A lot of interesting choices across the board. Do tell us in the chat who you think is an underdog, but I want to see that chat go flying right now. Tell us, who are you supporting in this group stage draw, which will be taking place in just a moment's time. What we're seeing right now is, of course, last season's Europa League campaign, which saw a couple of interesting games going on. Of course, that final with Inter Milan and Sevilla, with Sevilla eventually winning the competition. But I want to see that chat fly. Tell us who you're supporting in this competition. We'll read out some of your comments right now as we wait for the draw to take place. But while we have a little bit of time to see that chat go flying in terms of the teams, I will ask you now the question of who do you think could go on and win the competition?
It's so early. It's so early.
I'm gonna go Tottenham. I really am. I think they've made some really nice signings in the summer, with Reguilon and Bale. I think the word for them is fixture congestion. We've talked about it so much because there is the same with all the teams really, especially the English teams though, with all the cups. So you've got your Carabaos, you've got your FAs, you've got the league as well. It will be tough for them. I just feel like the signings they made have really boosted where they needed in the squad. They need a bit of depth, in that up front, and they needed definitely a new left back because no offense to Ben Davies, he's pretty wank. So yeah, I'll go Tottenham.
Not the problem with the Europa League is you technically don't know half the knockout stage yet because of the teams dropping down from the Champions League. So we could say, for example, I think Napoli are going to go all the way, but then they get the toughest team that dropped down in third place from the Champions League. So that always makes it a little bit more difficult. But if I was to back someone that's in the Europa League right now, I'll back Arsenal to win the Europa League again.
Interesting choice. Kieran D, who are we feeling to win it? I know it's early doors, and it's very hard, as you said, Kieran, to kind of predict a team now, because we've not even seen what the groups are going to be like. But who's that team that's really caught your eye to win it?
I honestly don't know. It's so hard to predict. Like Kieran said, half of the teams that come down from the Champions League will probably be favourites when they come into the knockout rounds. But I'm going to go with Tottenham as well, because I think Jose Mourinho knows how to win the Europa League.
Interesting choice. So we're seeing with the boys into the Sports Corner team, they're saying Tottenham right now, potentially to be an interesting team. Of course, Kieran going Arsenal. Let's have a look at the chat right now, see the comments while we're still waiting for the draw to take place. They are just bringing out the Claudio Ranieri lookalike in a minute, I believe, to just talk through the rules and really get this draw underway. Which welcome to Streamfo. He says when does the draw start? It should be in about a minute or two. They do like to kind of pad these draws out. But looking at the chat, we've got Sam who's supporting Dundalk. Congratulations to them getting through. We've got a lot of Rangers fans. Scottish Stu, Alex and Cass 1, welcome in, guys. John Hannam on the Rangers. Jet Ski Mafia, Tottenham can win nothing. Celtic fan, of course. Sofian saying ole ole, CFR Cluj. We've got a lot of Cluj fans in here. Well done to you guys last night. Fantastic result for them. Zulkfar is saying AC Milan winners. Luca Pop saying about Cluj again. There's a couple of other comments as well. Kyle's saying when's the draw starting? It should be in a minute's time. Jet Ski saying Sevilla will always win it. Of course, we might see them come down at some point and just win it again, like they always tend to do. Sasha, welcome in. He says PSV Eindhoven fan, of course. They're a very, very good side on their day, Eindhoven. Johnson saying AC Milan. And then Scott asking about the draw. The draw, it should be taking place in a moment's time. And Lovro is saying as well, Tottenham will win it. So interesting to see across the board what everybody's saying. First, but thank you for this. You've made this remarkable. Thank you very much for all of you guys that have joined, because, I mean, right now there's a hell of a lot of you in here. We're up to 744 subscribers. We're 6 away from 750. And just before the draw is going to start, they are giving out the only award of the day. So once the award has been given out, we shouldn't have any more awards. Fingers crossed, unless they've changed it up last second. But it's for the Player of the Season award. There's 3 players who are eligible for this award. One of them is Romelu Lukaku. I think another one of them is Ever Banega, and I don't quite know who the other one is, but we'll find out in a moment. And of course, that'll take a minute or two to kind of talk to the player, thank them for what they've done in the Europa League, and of course give them that award. The question is, we'll find out who it is in a second. Who would you say was the player of the season in the Europa League last season?
Genuinely, for me, it's Jesus Navas.
Navas?
And maybe that is because I watched nearly all of Sevilla's knockout games, and so it's probably better bias than Lukaku's up there. For me, Navas did everything. He was so key to Sevilla winning, in terms of maybe not even goals or assists, but the absolute shift he put in on that right hand side, running back to attack, running back to defend, forward to attack. There was no one on the pitch playing with the same intensity as him. Obviously Lukaku, who I think has won the award, he does deserve it. He did run right in the tournament, but I do think he's a striker, and I think you maybe need someone who I think you need a midfielder winning it, just because they are the key to the nearly entire team.
So you are spot on there. Lukaku is the player who has won the award. Kieran, who would you say was the player of the season last year in the Europa League?
Oh, undoubtedly Lautaro Martinez, to be honest with you. I think he is what makes Lukaku as good as he is in this Inter Milan team. So I would like to have seen Ever Banega, because he dictated everything Sevilla did, and he was the real heart to that team. But for me, Lautaro Martinez, player of the tournament.
So Lautaro Martinez and Jesus Navas. The question is, Kieran, who were you going to go for as last season's player of the season?
Lukaku,
Lukaku?
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely incredible last season. And although they came up trumps at the end, and they did miss out, of course, sadly, Lukaku, who I think actually did concede that very unlucky own goal in that game, which kind of made them lose it. But he wins Player of the Season, of course. He looks delighted with his award, bless him. And it does mean now we should finally be getting into the official draw ceremony. So what will happen here, if you've never seen the draw before, they'll bring out one or two players to draw out the balls from the pots. Then they will go through the rules, and then the draw will commence. Now, you'll have seen yesterday, as I said earlier, that in the Champions League, there was awards in between each pot. As far as I'm aware, there is no other awards taking place, so we should be getting straight into the pots within the next 5 minutes. As we said, they do like to try and pad these award ceremonies and group stage kind of things out, so we will get into it very, very soon. We are nearly at 750 subscribers. Free ways if you are new, do leave a like and a subscription. If you are one of these fans that is supporting a Europa League club, we tend to cover every single UEFA Europa and Champions League draw, so if you can never access it but you want to be able to see who faces who, then do subscribe, because we'll be covering every single draw in terms of the UEFA competitions. But let's have a look at the chat while we've got a little bit of time to kind of scout through before we get into the draw. They're just bringing out one of the players now who will be commencing with the draw in a moment's time. Foe saying Bruno Fernandes deserves at least third best player. Bremark saying Celtic are praying for young boys. We're seeing David saying Monda Rangers. We've got Ben Boy saying Celtic champions. There's still a lot of Celtic and Rangers fans arguing, which is always fantastic to see. Fotagu saying Ever Benega, who's of course now at Al Shabab. He's recently moved clubs as well. Johnson asking how much until it starts. Well, they've brought out the one player who's going to be drawing out one of the balls. I think it might actually only be one, so we should be underway within the next 5 minutes. And they're saying, I know a couple of the comments, Liam saying the Rangers are mad because Celtic won 10 in a row before they even win a trophy. And Juice World has put Feyenoord, last Dutch winner 2002. So a couple of different comments in there. And Movie Man Review saying Spurs to win it all. Does he mean everything in the world? The Olympics, the Bundesliga? Are they going to win everything? We'll have to find out. But tell us in the comments below, who do you think is going to win? And we're up to 750 subscribers, so thank you to all of you that have subscribed. Very, very greatly appreciated. But we'll just kind of run through the last minute things here before we get into the draw. Once again, for any of you that have just joined, this is the draw procedure for how it will work. For those of you that might have not seen the Europa League draw before, no team can play a club from their own association. So, for example, Arsenal cannot face off against any other Premier League side that is in this competition until at least the knockout stages. So you will not see Arsenal, for example, take on Leicester in the group stages, as you will not see Leverkusen take on Hoffenheim in the group stages either. You see how that rule works there. Based on decisions by the UEFA Executive Committee, clubs from Russia and Ukraine cannot be drawn together, so we won't see any Russian and Ukrainian sides taking place in the group stages against each other. And in the case of associations with two or more participants, clubs may be paired so they play with different kick-off times. So to make that into simple terms, what that basically means is Arsenal and Spurs, they've been both paired together. If Arsenal are drawn into groups A, B, C, D, E or F, then Spurs will go into the other remaining 6 groups so that there isn't conflicting kick-off times for these games. Giorgio Marchetti, who's the Claudio Ranieri lookalike, he's just come out now to talk through the rules, which means we can very quickly look at the key dates for this competition, of course. You can see on the screen now the times of when these group stage fixtures will take place. So match day 1 is in 20 days' time, on the 22nd of October. Then match day 2 and 3 are a week after that. So match day 2 is on the 29th of October. Match day 3 is on the 5th of November. And then there's around a 2-week break, and the competition returns with match day 4 at the end of November on the 26th, with match day 5 a week afterwards on the 3rd of December, and match day 6, the final match day of the group stages, on the 10th of December. It is that simple, with of course the knockout stages being in February of next year. There was a couple of people asking earlier in terms of will teams just play each other once in the group stages. They will play each other twice, and unlike last season's Europa League, it will be back to the original system of the 2-leg knockout fixtures next year. So it is back to the usual tournament that we know and love. So They are just finalising the rules. We should be underway with the draw in just a moment's time. Somebody else has just subscribed. Thank you very, very much. And once again, thank you so much to everybody who sat here and waited, because I know it can be quite frustrating in terms of having to sit there and wait for the draw to take place, because it did take about half an hour to actually kick on with the draw yesterday in the Champions League. So you'll see on your screen right now the groups. When each club is drawn out, I will update the picture on the screen, so you'll see each club in their individual group, and when they're drawn out, of course, I will flick to that group so you can see there's 12 groups. It's going to be an interesting draw, which is about to take place in just a moment. I think they're just having a quick scan here over those teams that are in pot 1. So while they do that and talk through the last rules, let's have a look at pot 1 once again. This is the first set of clubs that are going to be drawn out in just a moment's time. So the first teams to come out of the pots will be Arsenal and Spurs of England, Roma and Napoli of Italy, Benfica of Portugal, Leverkusen of the Bundesliga in Germany, Villarreal of Spain, CSKA Moscow of Russia, Braga of Portugal, Ghent of Belgium, PSV Eindhoven of Netherlands, and Celtic of Scotland. So they're the teams that will be drawn out in just a moment's time. They're just going through the last minute procedure of telling you which teams can go where, and then we'll be underway. While we sit and wait, tell us in the chat below who would you like to see face who in these group stages, and we'll get ourselves set, ready and raring to go in a moment's time. I mean, we are now nearly 20 minutes in and they haven't drawn out the teams. So my last question to you guys, I know it's a very speculative one, probably even more speculative than the actual winners of the tournament. Who do you think is going to be the top scorer of the Europa League? Tell us in the comments below, and I'm going to ask Kieran D. I'll ask you first. Top scorer in the Europa League.
Why have you done this? I genuinely don't know. Dries Mertens.
Dries Mertens, Napoli. Interesting choice. Like it. Kieran L.
Usually it's a team that gets very far, so I think I'm going to go and back who I've won, because that's the safest bet. I'll go with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Aubameyang of Arsenal. I think there'll be a lot of people who'll back him. We'll have to see in the chat in a moment. And Rowan, top scorer?
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
Tottenham winning. Like, I don't think a team that's in the competition now will win. I think Champions League dropout will, but Harry Kane.
Haven't gone for Oli Inca. I'm shocked, Rowan. I thought you would have gone for Oli Inca.
I don't know why you're so shocked, Josh. He's not a striker. If he was an out-and-out striker, of course I would have gone for him.
It is worth a try.
You can let him off.
It was worth a try. Let's have a look at the comments and see what everybody's putting in terms of the top scorer for the Europa League. It's a bold prediction right now, of course, because we haven't even seen the groups, but just to fill out the time while they're still going through the procedure. Sasha Creepers is saying Stephen Bergwijn of Tottenham, of course. Gordon Matt thinks Alfredo Morelos is going to be the top scorer of Rangers, of course. Kiwix94, thanks for joining, buddy. He says Jamie Vardy. Tim Cox has said Son is going to be the top scorer in the Europa League. Josh, he was here before, quite funnily enough actually, reminded us of our last draw where we sat there and ate celebrations from the Tim Rowan. He says Morelos, of course, of Rangers. John Murphy said Lacazette, and Otzaki doesn't like Tottenham. He's put twice, Tottenham suck. So look away, Tottenham fans, because Otzaki doesn't like Tottenham. But, fantastic news. Teams to be drawn out. Pot 1 is ready, and we're about to get underway with the draw. Finally, it's taken us 20 minutes to get here. I apologise for everybody who's sat here and been waiting right now for it, but we will be underway in about 5 seconds' time. If you are new to the stream and you have enjoyed it so far, then do leave a like and a subscription. It's very greatly appreciated. There's 500 of you still in the stream right now, and of course, if you can't access these group stage draws and even the knockout stage draws, we are covering every single Champions League and Europa League draw live, so do stick around. So we are underway now with the draw, finally. It's taken us 20 minutes, but we're here. The first ball has been picked out, and the first team to be drawn out in this season's Europa League is going to be AS Roma. So Roma are the first team out of the draw, and they will be going into, as far as I'm aware, they'll be into Group A. So that is AS Roma there into Group A. So we can officially just make sure that this is sorted out. There we go. You'll be able to see AS Roma on your screen now. Just give me a heads up in the chat if you can't see AS Roma on your screen. Hopefully it has updated. Right, so AS Roma, first team out in this draw. We're now on to the second team in this draw, and it's going to be Arsenal of the Premier League, of course, under new manager Mikel Arteta last season. Quite recently won against Liverpool last night in the Carabao Cup. They are the winners, potential winners of the Carabao Cup, with a few more rounds left to go. But Arsenal are in Group B, so that's the first two teams drawn out so far. Next team out, this is going to be for Group C. That is going to be Leverkusen of the Bundesliga. So Bayer Leverkusen will go into Group C. You can already start to see which teams here, you know, which groups you are going to want to kind of squeeze into, hopefully, and which groups you're not going to be in. Of course, we'll find out when we do get into Pot 2. So the next one out is Group D. I will update it in a second when we've got these other 3 teams drawn out. So you'll be able to see the first 4 teams. Benfica is going to go into Group D. So you should now see on your screen the 4 teams for the first 2 groups. So first 4 groups, Roma in A, Arsenal in B, Leverkusen in C, and Benfica in Group D. We're now going to move on to Group E.
Josh, mate, it's not updating.
It is updating. I've just updated it now. So Group E is going to be PSV Eindhoven. So that is Group E. PSV Eindhoven of the Eredivisie. Apologies about that there. It has updated now. He's drawing these balls out very quick, I'm not going to lie. He's much quicker than Didier Drogba was yesterday. And Florent Meludi, if you watch the Champions League group stage draw. But it's updated now. We're underway again. Group F, this is going to be for now. So Group F is going to consist of Napoli of the Serie A, of course, under manager Gattuso. Got a few good players on their side, including Dries Mertens and the new recent signing, Victor Osimhen, who could come up against his former side, Los Lille, depending on the way that the draw works. We've now got Group G. So the next team out here, and going into Group G from Pot 1, is going to be SC Braga of the Portuguese League. So Group G is Braga. And just to make sure in the chat, do give me a heads up if this is updating on your screen as well. Fingers crossed it is, and it's not cocking up on stream in front of 600 people. That'd be very embarrassing. Group H now. We've got 5 more groups to be drawn here for Pot 1. So going into Group H is going to be Celtic. So Celtic fans, you're in Group H. So to give you a quick reminder of the teams from Group E to H, E PSV, F Napoli, G Braga, and H is Celtic. We're now going to move on to Groups I, J, K, and L. So Group I is going to have, as the first team from Pot 1, Villarreal. So that's Unai Emery's Villarreal. Fantastic side on their day. Made a lot of big new signings, including the likes of Rulli in the recent weeks, Kubo as well, Parejo and Coquelin. How will they do? We'll have to find out. Just make sure that that has updated on the screen. It hasn't, so I'm going to very quickly sort that out. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me quickly update that. Apologies about this. It should be updated now. Let me...
Tottenham are in Group J.
Thank you very much, Rowan. There we go, it's
Yeah,
updated now.
There you go.
He didn't want to do it for a second there. He was trying to stop me. It was like, no, so Spurs are in Group J. Thank you, Rowan. I was clicking save and it was like, no, it's not putting it on. But there we go. CSK Moscow into Group K. You should be able to see it now. Apologies about that. It's an absolute nightmare Photoshop right now, but it's working fine now. So Moscow go into Group K. Just check on my stream. It is showing. Praise the Lord. Thank God for that. And the final team out in Pot 1 and going into Group L is going to be Ghent of the Belgium League. So we can quickly run over to start you off for any of you that have just joined the stream, what we're currently standing off with in terms of Pot 1. So AS Roma in Group A, Arsenal in B, Leverkusen in Group C, Benfica in Group D. We've got PSV Eindhoven in Group E, Napoli in Group F, Braga in Group G, and Celtic in Group H. Give me 2 seconds here. Just get rid of that comment there, so we're spamming. Group I, we've got Villarreal. Group J, Spurs. K, CSK Moscow. And Group L, we have Ghent. So we're going back round now. This is Pot 2. So we're going to go into Pot 2 now and back into Group A. Just make sure that is on the screen. It is indeed. So the first team to be drawn out in Group A alongside AS Roma from Pot 2 is going to be Young Boys of the Swiss League. So AS Roma and Young Boys in Group A. Let's just check that's on the screen. It is indeed.
You know,
Fantastic.
that could be a really nice group.
Yeah, it's a very interesting group, actually. Young Boys, very good side on their day in the Swiss League. We're now going to move on to Group B. This is the group with Arsenal, and Arsenal have been drawn with Rapid Vienna of the Austrian League. So Arsenal there, alongside Rapid Vienna of the Austrian League in Group B. Just make sure that is on the screen for you guys. It is indeed fantastic. Thanks to all 600 of you who've joined the stream. If you are new, do leave a like and a subscription. As always, we're nearly up to 700. We're now to Group C. Slavia Prague are going to be alongside Leverkusen in Group C. Rowan, that's an interesting one.
Definitely interested in.
Oh dear.
You know what are you going oh dear for? That'll be a fun group.
It's a tough draw.
It's a tough draw, but a very good game though. Leverkusen and Slavia Prague will be a very fun one. We're now to Group D. Standard Liège. I'm going to put Standard for now because I won't be able to fit Liège in, but Standard Liège will go alongside Benfica. So that is Group A, B and C. Young Boys Vienna, Slavia Prague and Standard are the first 4 teams drawn out. We're now going to move on to Groups E. We'll come back to those obviously in a little second. So Group E, this is the group with PSV Eindhoven. And to go alongside them is the Greek side PAOK. They lost to Krasnodar in the playoffs not too long ago. Very disappointing for them that they didn't reach the Champions League. But PAOK will play off against PSV in Group E. Not bad so far. We've had a couple of new subscribers, by the way. Thank you so much. We're nearly at 760. Thank you, everybody. Now to Group F. This is the group with Napoli. And joining Napoli is Leicester City. What a draw.
Oh.
Leicester City
Nice.
will face off against Napoli in Group F.
They've been putting Braga
G.
in this group. Group G.
Let me flick that. Group G.
Oh, they don't get Napoli.
They
That's
don't
still
get
good,
Napoli. That's absolutely gutted. I thought for a second that they were getting Napoli. They changed that very quickly. There we go. So going into the next group is Sparta Prague. So Sparta Prague will be going into Group H.
Celtic. Oh, that's quite nice, you know.
So I'm going to put Sparta there. So Sparta Prague go into Group H, if it will let me update. Sorry, Leicester spelt wrong. Give me 2 seconds there. Karabag, the next team out of the draw here. And Karabag will go into Group I. So we seem to have skipped over Group F here. Let me get a Group I.
It's also to do with playing. So Spanish teams are insane. That's why Leicester was moved, because of Arsenal.
There we go.
Certain teams.
This is where it gets chaotic. So we're now in Group I, Karabag. As you can see right now, Ludogorets, the next team drawn out here. Ludogorets are going to go into Group J alongside Spurs. So Spurs and Ludogorets into Group J. Of course, we'll see in a moment who does go into that group. In Group F, of course, we'll update that when we find out in a moment. So Spurs and Ludogorets in Group J. The next team drawn out, Real Sociedad. This is going to be an interesting one. And Real Sociedad are going to go into Group F alongside Napoli. So we might have not got Leicester in that group, but we have just got Sociedad. So I'll update that now, and of course we'll quickly flick over that in a moment when the pot 2 is finished. So Group F, Napoli and Sociedad, which means Group K and L are left. Dinamo Zagreb, the next team out, they are going to go into, I would assume, Group K. Spot on. So that is going to be Dinamo Zagreb, which means we have 1 team left in the draw.
Oh, that could be a nice little sneaky group.
Moscow and Zagreb, not bad there. And finally, to come out of the draw, we have Red Star Belgrade alongside Ghent in Group L. Apologies about that. This is where things get slightly chaotic in the draw, but we've got there in the end. So looking at these groups very quickly, Group A is Roma Young Boys. Group B, Arsenal and Rapid Vienna. Group C, Leverkusen and Slavia Prague. Group D, Benfica and Standard Liège. Group E, PSV and PAOK. Group F, Napoli and Real Sociedad. Group G is Braga and Leicester City. Not Napoli and Leicester City, it's Braga and Leicester City in Group G. Group H is Celta and Sparta Prague. Group I is Villarreal and Karabag. Group J, Spurs and Ludogorets. Group K, CSK Moscow and Dinamo Zagreb. And Group L is Ghent and Red Star Belgrade. Here we go again. We're now on to pot 3. You'll be able to see on your screens in a moment. Now, the teams that are going to be coming out in pot 3. The likes of Granada, AC Milan, Feyenoord, Alkmaar, Hoffenheim. There's still some very, very good teams that could come out in pot
KC
3.
Milan in Leicester's group. Go on.
It can happen, and we'll find out in a moment. There's 700 people in here. If you're new, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. It's very greatly appreciated. But let's get pot number 3 underway. I'm not going to try now and type straight away because I want to see, obviously, who goes where. But the first team out in pot 3 is going to be CFR Cluj. The Romanian side did very well in the Champions League playoffs last night. And Cluj are going to go into Group A alongside Roma and Young Boys. That is an interesting group. Some decent sides in that one there. So Cluj go into Group A. That makes my life 100 times easier. Next team out is going to be Mold of Norway. They are going to go into Group B alongside Arsenal and Rapid Vienna. Somebody asked a question in the chat, why aren't Leicester allowed to go in the other group with Napoli? It's to do with teams being paired up in terms of contrasting kickoff times, so they have to shift some teams around. The next team out, though, is AEK Athens of Greece, and they are going to go into Group G. So Group G, alongside Braga and Leicester. You won't see this on your screen right now, but AEK Athens are in Group G. We'll update it, of course, as we go along. So we'll put that on your screen now. Group G for AEK Athens. Next team out, Hapoel Beersheva of Israel. They are going to go into Group C. So they'll go alongside Slavia Prague and Leverkusen. Hapoel. Not bad there, Rowan, in terms of Slavia Prague.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Very, very good indeed. Next team out of the draw. Apologies about updating. It's very complex. But Rangers are the next team out. And Rangers will go into Group D alongside Benfica and Standard Liège. What a group that is.
Great group. They're all very similar levels as well. That's a quality group.
So there we go. You'll see on your screen now. Group D is updated. We'll move on to Groups E and H now. AC Milan are the next team out of the draw, and they will go into Group H alongside Celtic and Sparta Prague. What an opportunity for Celtic fans potentially to go to Italy to see AC Milan. Fantastic there. You'll be able to see that on your screen now. You can indeed. So AC Milan alongside Celtic. Next team out, Maccabi Tel Aviv. There's 800 of you in here right now. Thank you very much. Maccabi Tel Aviv, next team out. And Maccabi will go into Group I alongside Villarreal and Karabakh. So some very tough away days there in that group there. So Maccabi go into Group I. Update that one. Give me 2 seconds. Next team out is going to be AZ Alkmaar. And AZ Alkmaar is going to go into Group F alongside Real Sociedad and Napoli.
Nice group.
That's a group of death so far.
Alkmaar. Tough group, that one. We'll update that on the screen so you can see that now. There we go. Next team to be drawn out. Hopefully I'm doing well for you guys the stream. Last Linz of Austria. They are going to go into Group J alongside Tottenham and Ludogorets. So Lask Linz, Spurs and Ludogorets in Group J, which you'll be able to see on your screen now. There we go. Next team out, Feyenoord of the Eredivisie. Fantastic side on the day. Got the likes of Steven Berghuis. And they will go into Group K alongside Moscow and Dinamo Zagreb. That is a very tough group on paper there.
Yeah, I was about to say that looks like a tough group. Like, they're all quite similar quality.
Very similar indeed. Next team out, Granada of the Spanish League. First time in La Liga. First season they get Europa League football. And they will go into Group E alongside Eindhoven and PAOK. What a group.
That's another good group. I think most of these are actually looking to be quite... There's a few tasty fixtures to look forward to.
Which means we've got one more team left to come out, I believe. Hoffenheim should go into the group with Ghent and Red Star Belgrade, if I am correct. I am indeed. Hoffenheim into that group alongside Ghent and Red Star. So very quickly to run over these groups before we go into the final pot. Group A, as you can see on your screen now, is Roma Young Boys and Cluj. B, Arsenal, Rapid Vienna, Mold. Group C, Leverkusen, Slavia Prague and Hapoel. Group D, Benfica, Standard Liège and Rangers. Group E, PSV, PRK and Granada. Group F, Napoli, Sociedad and Alkmaar. Group G, Braga, Leicester, AEK Athens. And Group H, Celtic, Sparta Prague and AC Milan. Group I, Villarreal, Karabag and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Group J, Spurs, Ludogorets and Las Linz. Group K, CSK Moscow, Dinamo Zagreb, Feyenoord. And Group L, Ghent, Red Star Belgrade and Hoffenheim. Here we go then. The final pot is going to be drawn out. Hopefully I'm doing well. There's no complaints in the chat, which is good to see. Pot 4, final teams out. And the first team is CSKA Sofia. And CSKA Sofia will go into Group A alongside Roma Young Boys and Cluj. So that is CSKA Sofia in Group A, which you'll be able to see on your screen right now. Just check to make sure you can indeed. So that's the first group completed. Not bad there for Roma. Next team out, Dundalk. Fantastic for Dundalk here, because Dundalk will be going alongside Arsenal in Group B.
Trip to Ireland, lads.
That is massive for Dundalk. They'll be delighted with that, alongside Rapid Vienna Mold. Next team out, OGC Nice of France. Very good side on the day, managed by Patrick Vieira.
Biggest teams in pot 4.
And they're going to go into Group C alongside Bayer Leverkusen. So that's Leverkusen, Slavia Prague, Hapoel and Nice. Rowan, what a group.
Oh, it's a great group. They'll have a lot of fun games there. I'm not as confident now, but we'll wait and see.
Next team out is going to be KKS Lech Poznan of the Polish League. And they should, as far as I'm aware, go into Group D alongside Rangers, Benfica and Standard Liège. So that is Lech Poznan in Group D. We'll move on to Group E now. There's 800 of you in the stream. If you are new, as always, do leave a like and a subscription. We'll be covering every single Europa League and Champions League draw live in the future. We've been doing it for the last year now. Next team out is Omonia. They can go into Group E alongside Eindhoven, PAOK and Granada. So Omonia, I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I've slaughtered your team's name. They go into Group E. Let's have a quick check. There we go. FC Zoya Luhansk of the Ukrainian League. The next team out of the pot, they will go into Group G. So that is Zoya of the Ukrainian League alongside Braga, Leicester and AEK Athens. There's two obviously clear sides there, I think, that people will look at to go through in that group. Next team out, LOSC Lille of the French League. Now stick them in Group F.
Are they going on?
No, going to go into Group H alongside Celtic and Sparta Prague. What a group.
That's unbelievable. I was hoping it'd be Napoli's group, but that's just as good.
That is sensational. Group H, LOSC Lille. What a group that one is. Next team out, HNK Rijeka of the Croatian League. Fantastic result for them last night, as we said, in the competition in terms of the playoffs. They go into Group F. So that's Rijeka alongside Napoli and Sociedad.
Gonna be hard for them.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for them.
On to Group I. The final groups here, 761 subscribers. Thank you so much for everybody subscribing. Siverspor, first time they've been in the Europa League. I know there's a few Siverspor fans in here. You're going to be going into Group I alongside Villarreal and Karabag.
Got a chance in that one, you know.
Good draw for Siverspor.
I think they'll be delighted with that. The Turkish fans, tell us in the comments below what you think. We've got 3 more teams to come out here before the draw is finished. Wolfsberger of the Austrian League. They were in the competition last season. They are in it once again, and they will go into Group K alongside Moskva, Dinamo and Feyenoord. So that's Wolfsberger there. Let's update that. Bang, Group K. As you can see on the screen right now. 2 more teams left, Group J and Group L. Thank you so much for everybody that has subscribed and watched the stream so far. Slovan Liberec, the next team out of the Czech Republic League. They are going to go into Group L, which means the final team will go alongside Spurs in that group there. Slovan Liberec, that's updated, which means going into Spurs group and ending the draw will be Royal Antwerp of the Belgian League. So as you can see on your screen right now, let's go through the Europa League group stage draw once again. So we start off with Group A. We've got AS Roma, Young Boys Cluj and CSKA Sofia. Group B, Arsenal, Rapid Vienna, Molde and Dundalk. Group C, Bayer Leverkusen, Slavia Prague, Hapoel Beersheva and OGC Nice. And Group D, Benfica, Standard Liège, Rangers and Lech Poznan. Group E, PSV Eindhoven, PAOK, Granada and Omonia. Group F, Napoli, Real Sociedad, AZ Alkmaar and Rijeka of the Croatian League. Group G, Braga, Leicester City, AEK Athens and Zoya of the Ukrainian League. Group H, Celtic, Sparta Prague, AC Milan, Losk Lille. What a group that one is. Group I, Villarreal, Karabag, Maccabi and Sivasspor. Group J, Spurs, Ludogorets, Laslins and Royal Antwerp. Group K, CSK Moscow, Dinamo Zagreb, Feyenoord and Wolfsberger. And Group L, Ghent, Red Star Belgrade, Hoffenheim and Slovan Liberec. Boys, what a group stage draw. What are your thoughts on it?
Excited.
Yeah,
Some
I
nice
mean,
little ties.
look at Group C, D, and H, and they are unbelievable to watch. I think we like the groups where there's 3 teams to battle for them 2 spots, even 4 in some of the best things. And also, what a draw for our boys Dundalk. They've got a chance of going through.
I mean, it's an absolutely sensational draw. I mean, I'm going to try and flick through them so everybody can see on the screen. Thanks for everybody that has joined, by the way. Please do leave a subscription. As I said, we're going to be covering every single draw live in the future. But you've got to say, what is the standout group? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to be saying the group with AC Milan in.
That one or Napoli's group. Both of those groups should be really exciting. But the CSKA group, the Dynamo, Feyenoord, Wolfsburg will be a good group because they're all kind of similar quality in the fact that I'm not sure who will win that group.
Group C. And then
I was going to say,
biased.
no, I was going to say that group needs a little bit of a mention with Nice, Prague, Leverkusen. I think there's a lot of groups like KD said, very equal groups like Group E, PSV, PAOK and Granada. They're going to be really tight towards the end, I'm pretty sure. But if I had to pick a standout, I think it's the AC Milan one. But good shout out to Group C for Rowan and the boys.
I mean, it's a good group run. I've got it on the screen right now. Leverkusen, obviously Slavia Prague, Hapoel and OGC Nice. It's a very testing group.
It is. I think it's going to be about that second, isn't it? Well, the thing is, Nice. You put Nice and Leverkusen maybe same level, then Slavia, and then Beersheva. But you never know how results are going to go, and a cheeky win over a Leverkusen or a Nice can really set you up for that first or even second.
I think if Slavia are going to go through, they need to beat Hapoel home and away, and hope they can beat one of the 2, Nice or Leverkusen at Slavia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at some of the English sides as well, Group G, Leicester City, Braga, AEK Athens and Zoya. Do you think Leicester fans will be quite happy with that group?
Yeah, I think they'll be delighted.
To be fair, I think all the English teams will be happy. I think Arsenal, Tottenham and Leicester have avoided most of the big boys. Had a favourable draw in general. I think the teams that really got screwed were the Scottish teams because they've arguably got the 2 toughest groups in the tournament. So they were arguing in the chat. They might be arguing when one of them doesn't make it out of the group because they are some tough groups for them.
There's some very tough groups indeed. You can see on the screen right now, I've got the kind of the groups revolving around so you can see who's facing who. I mean, Rangers getting Benfica, Standard Liège and Lech Poznan. That's a tough group on paper. Not as tough maybe as last season, but still very hard in terms of competing in that group. And of course, Celtic with Sparta Prague, AC Milan and Lille. You kind of expect that to be one of the groups in the Champions League, to be honest. Seen a couple of other groups as well. Hoffenheim, we've got Red Star Belgrade and Slovan Liberec. A lot of tough games in there for them to go to. And as for Dundalk as well, we said about them before, are doing really well getting into the Europa League group stages. They've got a great fixture against Arsenal at home and at the Emirates. They must be delighted, Dundalk fans, with that.
Yeah, they'll be absolutely jubilant. I can assure you that.
It's such a good draw on paper, isn't it?
And with the other 2 teams in the group, I don't think they're a million miles off picking up results. And that's not to be offensive to Dundalk, but the Irish League doesn't get really a lot of credit in the European scene. But I think they might just fancy the chances to get out. I'm not going to say that, but they could.
Potentially.
I think every team in the competition will fancy their chances again out of the group, to be perfectly honest. Maybe not the last one in Napoli's group, unfortunately, to Rijeka, because they probably got screwed the most.
Yeah, it's a tough group for them. We've had another subscriber, by the way. Thank you ever so much. We're 6 away from 770. If you are new, do leave a subscription. It's greatly appreciated. You can see the groups on your screen right now. I'd like to ask you guys in the chat, all 500 of you that's still here, what are your thoughts on the group stages? Are you happy with the draw? Are you a little bit disappointed? Is it a tough group for your teams? And of course, be interested to see what you guys are putting. Let's have a quick look at the chat right now. Demisani saying it's a good draw for the Gunners. Of course, Arsenal, fantastic draw for them. Movie Man Review saying Group H is the group of death in the Europa League. Movie Man also saying seriously super easy group for Spurs. They've got quite a decent group, you have to say. And seeing the rest of the chat, Shadow Gamer saying about Morelos, obviously potentially going to Lille, which means he come up against Celtic, if that was, of course, to happen. And then Celtic AC Milan seems to be the main thing that everybody's talking about in the chat right now. Absolutely. It's very hard to say that they'll be delighted, but on paper, Celtic AC Milan, we could have fans back in the stadium. What a game of football that will be.
I think the Celtic fans, they absolutely love big nights at, I can't remember what the stadium's called, I do apologise.
Celtic Park.
Celtic Park, sorry. I have never, I don't think ever said the name of the Celtic Stadium. So they love big nights at Celtic Park, of course, the night against Barcelona. Sticks in Celtics, man. They love European nights. They did quite well last year. Of course, they beat Lazio. Unfortunate this year in the Champions League playoff, but they'll fancy their chances, like they always will.
100%. It's just a quality game on paper for a Europa League fixture. Let's have a look at the chat, see what everybody's been saying in terms of their thoughts on the draw. Just looking at Kyle Middleton, he says it's a brilliant draw. I think Dundalk could go through. And I mean, the likes of Rapid Vienna mould in that group as well. It's going to be very, very competitive for that second place position to go through to the next round. Noise Ranto, I haven't butchered your name there. He says Napoli, Sociedad, Alkmaar is going to be something, and it's such a tasty group on paper. I mean, originally, of course, we thought Leicester was in there, but with the way that the coefficients and the pairings have gone, unfortunately, Leicester weren't. But either way, it's still a sensational group. Either way, of course, Real Sociedad having the likes of David Silva, Napoli with their star players. It will be interesting to see how they do. Lou 2K says he thinks it's going to be easy for Celtic with a winking face. See how that one goes down. He says, though, realistically, Celtic will be happy with the games, but it's certainly a tough group. So there's a lot of interesting opinions in the chat in terms of the groups as well. And Louis put, I reckon Leicester have a chance to escape the group. So we're going to go through the groups one more time, just very quick for those of you that are just joining after the group stage draw and you're wondering, well, who is facing off against who in the group stages. These are the official Europa League group stages. So Group A, AS Roma, Young Boys, Cluj and CSK Sofia. Group B, Arsenal, Rapid Vienna, Molde and Dundalk. Group C, Bayer Leverkusen, Slavia Prague, Hapoel Beersheva and OGC Nice. And Group D, Benfica, Standard Liège, Rangers and Lech Poznan. Group E, PSV Eindhoven, PAOK Granada and Ammonia. Group F, Napoli, Sociedad, AZ Alkmaar and Rijeka of the Croatian League. Group G, SC Braga, Leicester City, AEK Athens and Zorya. And Group H, obviously Celtic, Sparta Prague, AC Milan and Losler. What a group that is. Group I, Villarreal, Karabakh, Maccabi and Sivasspor. I think the Sivasspor fans will be very delighted with that draw. Group J, Spurs, Ludogorets, Laslins and Royal Antwerp. Group K, CSK Moscow, Dinamo Zagreb, Feyenoord and Wolfsberger. And finally, Group L, Ghent, Red Star Belgrade, Hoffenheim and Slovan Liberec. A lot of tough games there for Hoffenheim away from home. Key dates once again for the UEFA Europa League. The first match day is in 20 days time on the 22nd of October, and then for the first 3 weeks it's every single Thursday night. The 29th of October for match day 2 and the 5th of November for match day 3. There's then a 2-week break in between, and then it's back for match day 4 on the 26th of November, match day 5 on the 3rd of December, and finally match day 6 on the 10th of December to end the group stages. Of course, then a few days afterwards, we'll have the knockout draw, which we will be covering once again. So as I said, if you don't have access to these draws, we tend to cover them live all the time. So do subscribe. There's a whole range of other sporting content. And you can see on your screen right now what's still to come on the YouTube channel to entice you. there we go. There's some of the coverage of things that we've got to come. Apologies for the boys, a bit silent there for a second, but you can see some of the things coming. We've got a few Premier League watch-alongs. We've got the UEFA Euro 2020 playoff semi-finals, and most importantly, you do want to stick around because in 3 days' time we have transfer deadline day, which we're going to be live from 10 a.m. in the morning all the way until midnight, keeping you up to date with all of the transfers across Europe and world football. So highly do recommend sticking around on the channel because we've got so much more content to come. We have plenty of not just footballing content as well. We have NFL content, F1 content. We have tier lists, a whole range of sporting podcasts. It is really a diverse channel on here. And if there's any sports that you guys would like to see us cover, then definitely do tell us in the chat. Be very, very greatly appreciated. Of course, we want to build on the channel and improve over time. So there we go. That is the UEFA Europa League group stage draw complete. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has joined the stream today. Very greatly appreciated. We had about 700, 800 views at one point, and it's so just great. Appreciate that. There's still people subscribing now. Thank you so much to everybody that is. And of course, if you haven't, then just click that subscribe button. It only takes 2 seconds. But as for now, big thank you to Kieren L, Kieran D, and Rowan for joining us for the group stage draw. Thank you very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. As for now, have a great rest of your evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
No bet.
Bro just dipped.
you.